Hi, Madeline. How are you? Thank you for joining us today for health, wellness, and lifestyle.
And thank you so much, Faye, for having me. Super excited to be here.
Well, one of the key things that everyone's talking about, thinking about, because we're home, we're cooking a lot at home, is about nutrition. And I think it's very important that people start with the basics and move forward. But this is something that's key. Nutrition is the key to everything else.
No, I agree completely. And I think now more than ever, we're realizing how important it is to take good care of our health. And maybe before you had your health kind of like on autopilot and you just expected you always to be able to weather every storm and have your body always work the way you want it to. And I think now it's like really hitting us that we have to take much better care of ourselves. And on top of that, there's so much that we can't control in this craziness that's going on. And what we eat is actually one thing that we can control.
Which I mean, again, it's on everybody's mind. They're stressing about what to eat, what to cook, what to eat that's healthy in order to maintain that. From individual, whether you're a man or a woman, a parent, we're thinking about it for kids. You know, we're stress eating, kids are stress eating. There's certain things I'm sure that trigger that even more. It's so easy to be like, fine, sure. I think there's ways to go about fulfilling that craving, but in a smart way.
Yeah, but I mean, think about this. Just the act of going grocery shopping right now is very anxiety producing. So before you even think about going to the grocery store, you have to be super prepared, right? Besides just getting, your mask, your glove, your hand sanitizer, your wipes, all that stuff going, you need a shopping list. And you can't make a shopping list unless you see what you already have, in your refrigerator, in your freezer, in your pantry, all these things. Like maybe you've already are so stocked up with one thing that you don't have to buy it and you could leave it in the store for somebody else, because now you can make the best list that you have, but you go to the supermarket and we've all seen some shelves are just empty.
Right.
So a few weeks ago you couldn't get chicken and now you can't get eggs, and who knows what you're not going to be able to get next week, right? So
Right.
there has to be a certain amount of flexibility when you're making your list and when you get to the store, but also have a good idea of what you're looking to buy, because we're all quarantined right now, and what you don't bring into your house is as important as what you do bring into your house. So to speak to the binge eating aspect of it, right? If you bring in boxes and boxes of brownie mix, well, guess what? That's what you and your family are going to be eating for the next couple of weeks.
It's funny because my daughter, especially because I have four kids besides myself and my husband, so there's a lot of nutrition to balance. And my daughter's like, "Oh, great! Do we have another box of brownies? Oh, great! Another box of cookies." I'm like, "Really? I mean, there are other better options. I mean, I think we're probably the only family right now in this situation that doesn't have ice cream in their freezer. I have everything else. I'm just trying to try to be a little smart, you know, try to help them a little bit nutrition wise, but there's got to be some basics. Even like some people like, I don't even know where to begin. So do you have like a basic checklist that people that's easy for them to start with or work with or add to? But just sometimes you're like, I'm fried, I can't think. Like, what's a basic checklist?
No, I agree with you 100%. And we don't have to reinvent the wheel here, right? It's like everybody has like 4 or 5 things that they know how to cook. So rinse and repeat. Just keep rotating what you know how to do. You don't have to turn into Julia Childs at this exact moment, right?
Yeah.
So when you go into the store, there's always some vegetable there. There is really actually always some. It may not be your first choice, but you can pick up a vegetable. The frozen stuff has been on, but canned stuff, which we overlook always because it's like the lowest level, right? Of,
I do.
right?
Love it.
So we're not like very interested in, but if you're watching your salt, there's always like a low sodium canned option. I mean, in a worst case scenario, if you want to eat healthy, even in this crisis situation, you can find a way. And again, your choice of protein. You may not get your first choice of protein, but there will be a protein that you're going to get. And think about this. This is not a snowstorm where you lock yourself in your house with all this junk food for 24 hours and wait for the storm to pass. we're in this for the long haul. So maybe what you did the first couple of days is no longer appropriate because we have to start righting our ship. And like the healthier we are, I think the better primed and ready we are to deal with, what the future is.
That's a very valid, very smart point. I mean, I try to, when I went, even myself going into the grocery store, I did go to the canned food section for once. I was like, you know what? And that's kind of like an old school way. Like our parents used to do that. And there's a value there. It's not, and even for some people that get nervous, like to get canned, there's stuff that's available like in packets. If for some reason, whatever it is, there's still things available. So, and it's also, I think, a good opportunity from a nutrition perspective to try something that you would have never tried before. You have so much time. Instead of having, we're normally maybe rushing to cook dinner, rushing to cook lunch. You can get creative. There's so many. I mean, we're in a digital age. You can go online, find so many recipes where you can cover all your nutritional basis, right?
Absolutely. Look, everyone ran out right away and got rice, like as if rice was the only grain. Okay, so fine, rice is rice, but there's also, you can do quinoa or farro or bulgur wheat. There's so many other grains that you can try at this moment that are probably still on the shelf, right? And like for me, not a grain, but a green. I personally love broccoli rabe, but I seem to be the only one because there was plenty of that there, So
I love it.
You love to. And things like apples. Your mom was right when she told you if you're not hungry enough to eat an apple, you're not really hungry.
Yeah.
So, at this point, apples last for a long time, and so do oranges. So there are things that you can buy that have like a longer shelf life, so that you can meet the guidelines of only going to the store once a week. There's still plenty that we can do nutrition-wise. And again, the people who do the best are the ones who set themselves up with a schedule. And that makes us also more relaxed, right? So maybe now you're working from home where, in the past you weren't. And maybe the kids are homeschooled when in the past they were gone for, 6-7 hours a day. So, but if everyone, goes to sleep at the right time, gets up at a reasonable time, has a breakfast, has a lunch, has a dinner, maybe a fruit and a vegetable in between. I mean, this pandemic is not an all-you-can-eat buffet. It can't be that from like the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, you're just anxiety eating. Because at the end of that, we're going to be less healthy than when we started this. And I'm looking at this as an opportunity to take a minute, have some more time for exercise, especially people who no longer have to commute. You really have no excuse that you don't have any time. You can spend now that commuting time, maybe going out to take a walk. And
now here's the thing. So if you're finding yourself, it could be from stress or whatever, if you find yourself to be hungrier than normal, are there certain foods like that you can go a nutritional route that'll help fill that hunger, I suppose, for lack of a better way of saying it?
You know what? You can eat any fruit and vegetable that you can get your hand on. I mean, really, I'm being a registered dietitian. I've been doing this for a really, really long time, and never, not once, has anyone come to me because they've eaten too many fruits and vegetables. So there's like no limit to that if that's what you want to eat. But another thing is people are eating out of boredom, and they're eating because they set up their home office in their kitchen, which is the absolute worst place if you have a choice to set up your home office, because I have a home office and I'm in it right now. It's nowhere near my kitchen. If I would take my computer and put it at my dining room table, all my cabinets do is talk to me because I just want to open them and see what we have. So a lot of the times you're not actually hungry. It's the food cue of like, I'm sitting in the kitchen and there's nothing to do, so I might as well have something to eat.
That's actually a pretty amazing point, and 100%. And I know a lot of people that have set up their offices in their kitchen. You don't need a whole lot, depending on what you do, like a massive office space. I mean, I found a quiet, sunny corner in my home where no one else, like what usually generally comes in here, and it works. But my friends that have set up in the kitchen, they're complaining about that waking. They're complaining about like, I don't know what to do. I don't know why I'm always eating. But that's a very valid point, and that I think a lot of people didn't even think about.
And it's not like in the very, very beginning, I saw these memes saying, oh, airport rules apply. If you want to have a alcoholic drink at 9 a.m., have it, right? This is like crazy conditions. But the airport rules no longer apply. We're in this for the long haul, you know? So whatever craziness happened in the beginning, we have to settle in to an actual routine that is healthful. Because look, one thing that I find so fascinating is most people take much better care of like their car than they do of themselves, right?
Very
So you would never put the wrong gas in your car. If your car runs on regular fuel, you know, if you put diesel fuel in it, your car is not going to run. And people are really careful about that. They're careful about getting an inspection, and if they hear a noise, taking it in for a tune-up. But for us, we just expect no matter what kind of crap we put into ourselves, we're just going to keep running. And it doesn't work like that.
No, very true. Very true indeed. Another question I wanted to ask you, nutritionally speaking, if there were foods, you know how I asked you if there was like, what do you recommend? Which foods should we try to actually avoid from a nutritional perspective for our health and wellness?
You know, listen,
If that's an easy question to answer.
no, well, look, I always say you don't have to be perfect, just good enough. But I also think if you don't want to eat something, don't buy it. Once you bring something into the house, you're giving your entire family the green light to eat it, right? So if you don't want your family to eat, I'm just picking this out of a hat, a sleeve of Oreos, you can't bring Oreos into the house because once it's opened, it's over. And we don't have eyes in the back of our head and we don't know what's going on. So, you know, my basic rule is if I don't want to eat it, I'm not buying it. If I don't want my family to eat it, I'm not buying it. And I'm not saying that of all junk, but there's certain things where I really draw the line. And because if I bring it into the house, now I just sanctioned it. And I'm saying, here, I think this is good for you to eat.
No, very true. Very true.
I mean, I have 4 kids like you do. And so many years ago, I bought a box of like macaroni and cheese, right? It was $1. And I bring it home. And my son, Ari, he says to me, hey, Mom, would you ever eat that? I'm like, no. He goes, would you ever tell any of your clients to eat it? I'm like, no. He's like, what are you bringing it to us for? And I'm like, you know what? You're right. And I never bought it again because I wouldn't eat it and I wouldn't want you to eat it. And the fact that it was $1 and easy is just not good enough reason to feed my family that.
No, 100%, and it's quite true. I mean, and very smart and keen, your son. It was a very valid point to make. You know, I find the challenge also with the kids is everybody wants something different, nutritionally trying to balance for everyone. So I just almost like doing a check-in with you before we go for this session, because we're going to be doing a lot of talking with everything that's going on. Nutrition is key, so we're again so super happy to have you on board. One of the key things, I try to find something that kind of balances everyone. Apples, oranges, tangerines are things that we've been able to find. I've brought home popcorn. There's so many different variations. I'm hoping nutritionally I'm making a good decision for myself and for my kids.
You know, with popcorn, I buy, if you can get them, just the plain kernels, and you can put them in a brown paper bag, that how you would have packed your kid's lunch, a quarter of a cup for 2 minutes in the microwave, pops perfect every time. You know what you're getting. I feel like regular microwave popcorn, it just smells, you can smell the chemicals. That can't be good for you.
I know. And then what about all, like, sorry to interrupt, like the popcorn, like my kids like the Buddha bowl or whatever it's called, like with the Himalayan salt and it has, some of them have sweetness with the sugar cane or whatever. It's still sweet. So like, I don't know, am I giving them a better nutritional healthy option, or it's just a different name with a fancier package? You know,
Probably the second one.
yeah, I figured.
Like food marketers, they target towards something called the better for you shopper. And so they have all these buzzwords, you know, because moms want to do the right thing by their kids and they're trying to trick us. So, you know, just be aware that it's not always what it seems to be.
I mean,
What?
we used to use the air popper for years. I mean, that's what, like
Okay.
the popcorn, and I don't know why we stopped doing it. So, and the reason why I brought up popcorn is you're watching a lot of, programs, movies, binging. So it's a great time where a lot of people want to use it to graze and eat and fuel, even though necessarily you don't have to. So popcorn is everyone's like favorite go-to, but there's a lot of misinformation regarding popcorn. So that's why I brought it up.
Regular popcorn, you can season it at home that you've made yourself. It's totally fine.
Okay. Anything else you wanted to add, like as a checklist for the nutritional checklist for the day?
Let's see, the nutritional checklist for the day. Again, you've got this. It's not any harder than it is. Don't make it harder than it has to be. You know, we're all going to the store. We're all doing the best that we can. Hopefully, you know, things will even out, you know, and people will stop hoarding everything, so there'll be enough for the rest of us. And have a plan, and you're going to be completely fine.
All right. Thank you, Madeline. This was, I don't know, I'm beyond excited because, like I said, nutrition is key. It's what we're leaving our home is to go and pick up stuff from the grocery, or we're stressing online trying to set up our Instacart and all that stuff. So you play a key role in helping us get through this. So we're very happy to have you on board. And thank you for our nutritional checklist for today.
Thank you. See you
Looking
next time.
forward to seeing you next time. Thanks.
Bye.